So cost of goods sold, units. Let's say that cost, units, manufacturing cost, units, multiply by cost per unit. Manufacturing units, right, multiply by cost per unit. You can call it manufacturing units. Manufacturing units multiplied by cost per unit. So we got gross profit. We got gross profit. Minus operating cost, right, which is most likely to be your question. And then net. So the most important thing is this: cost of goods sold. How we calculate. So the way to calculate cost of goods sold is here. Opening stocks in units. Material purchase or produce in units. Closing stocks minus closing stocks in units. So you got manufacturing units. This one. Manufacturing units. That's manufacturing units. Right? Now you got units multiplied by cost per unit. So cost per unit means this is manufacturing cost. Manufacturing cost means direct material cost per unit, direct labor cost per unit, overhead cost per unit. Direct material cost per unit, direct labor cost per unit. Right. So you got, this is cost per unit. Total cost or total manufacturing cost per unit. Right. This is manufacturing cost per units. Right? So now I need to explain you what is opening stock and what is closing stock. Opening inventory, closing inventory. Right? What is opening and what is closing. Opening inventory means any inventory in the beginning of the period. When we start production, start manufacturing, whatever units we have to start production, that's called opening. Right? And whatever is left at the end of the period, production is finished, we already sold, and whatever is left, we call it unsold or unproduced or unused. Right? So this is called ending or closing. Same thing. Sometimes call it ending, you can call it ending if you like it, ending or closing. Right? So let me give example. Let's say in the morning you're gonna make your breakfast. Right? When you check your kitchen, so let's say you have 1 bowl of rice. 1 bowl of rice is in your kitchen, right? So you start eating breakfast with that rice. We use that rice first, right? Okay, that's the minimum opening. Whenever you start production, whatever raw material you have, you need it, you will use it to make it. But that raw material, because only 1 bowl of rice, it's may not enough for you for your breakfast. So what you will do, you cook more or produce more or purchase more. Alright? So that's the meaning of plus material. So let's say you cook 5 bowls of rice more. So now you got 6, right? And throughout the day, you ate 4 bowls of rice. And how many left at the end of the day? 2. That's the meaning of 2. That's the meaning of opening, what we have when we start production, and closing, what we left, which is not used. And what we will do with these 2, next day, these 2 will become opening. Whatever rice left at night, next day in the morning, if it's not off, then we eat it, right? And then again, maybe opening not enough, then we buy more, and throughout the day, we check how much left. It's called closing. So that's the idea. Opening plus purchase or produce plus closing. This is called cost of goods manufactured or cost of goods sold. That's the meaning of cost of goods sold units. So once you got units, you have direct material per unit, direct labor per unit, overhead cost per unit. Then you got cost per unit. So units multiplied by cost per unit. You got cost of goods sold. Yes or no? Is it okay? So you got cost of goods sold. And then this minus this gross profit. This number is given in your question. Marketing, advertising, and so on. Subtract, you got this number. Right? Is it okay? Any question? Anybody has any question or move on? Move on. So now we move on to your assignment. So here is your costing techniques. So we start with absorption and then we will do margin. So I read these assignments and then I'll show you what is the meaning of this information. So this is your selling price per unit. All right. Now this is your variable cost per unit. Direct material, direct labor, and variable overhead. So remember, if you are calculating absorption costing, right? When you calculate cost of goods sold, right? You need units, which is opening plus material less closing, multiply by cost per unit, total cost per unit. So it means direct material, direct labor, and overheads. Overhead means variable overheads and fixed overheads. Both. Of course, because overhead is a variable plus fixed both. Alright? So keep in your mind. Don't use just variable. So let me go back if you did not understand. So I repeat. Here, overheads. Alright? Overhead means total overhead cost. So remember, overhead is a combination of both kinds of costs, fixed and variable. Always, all the time. I think this thing I already explained you before, but in case you do not remember, keep in your mind. Of course, this is direct material, direct labor is a variable cost. But when we calculate cost of goods sold, we don't care about variable and fixed. We just care about manufacturing cost. Whatever is manufacturing cost is part of cost of goods sold, means is part of here, any manufacturing cost. So direct material, direct labor, overhead. But if your question says fixed overhead, variable overhead, we need to take total overheads. Right? Don't just take it variable or don't just take it fixed. But total overheads. So this is your variable cost per unit, alright? Variable cost per unit. Remember, don't forget to add fixed, right? Don't forget to add fixed here. Now, here is a fixed cost per unit. Fixed factory overhead is 108,000 pounds. So they are giving us a total. We need per unit. Why? Because per units here, we also need per units. But they are giving us total. If you want to convert into per unit, you divide it by number of units. Then we have to find it. Right? So then you got here, fixed cost per units. Right? Now, normal production for the year in units. Here we got it. We got units, which are 36. So 108,000 divided by 36,000 units. So we got this number. Alright? Yes or no? Now, oh, they already calculated for us. We already got it. We didn't check. Anyway, we got this number. But if they don't give this number, we know how to do it. So next. Okay. So here we have units produced and units sold. They are different from each other. Sold means sales units. Unit produced means material purchase, material produced, something like this, right? So remember, when you calculate cost of goods sold, so you have to calculate for 3 months, January, February, and March. Right? So you're going to calculate for January, for February, and for March. Right? When you calculate for January, opening plus material purchase, material produced, less closing. And then you got units. Right? Units multiplied by cost per unit, which is here. Cost per units. Right? So cost per units. And then you got for January. Cost of goods for January. And then February for March. But remember, it says January has no opening inventory. For January, opening inventory for January is 0. Material is January 3. Alright? And how much closing? What do you think? How much will be closing? How much? 1,500. Why? Because we produced 3,000, we sold 1,500. How many left? 1,500. So 1,500. That's for January. Now February. What is opening? Remember, January closing will be February opening, which is 1,500. Right? Produce. How many produce? Here. 500. And how much closing? Huh? 2,000? Closing? 0? Anybody else? How much closing? 0. Why 0? Because how much I have? 1,500, which is not enough. So let's say 1,500, I don't know, rice. I have, not balls, rice. But that rice not enough. So I purchase or I produce more. So I got 2,000. Alright? During the year or during the day, during the month, I consume 2,000. I have 2,000, I consume 2,000. My closing is 0. So closing is 0. And if 0 closing, 0 closing, 0 opening. And then reduce here. Sold here. Closing 2. Alright? Understand? So cost per unit will be same for January, February and March because direct material, labor, overheads will be same because it's a manufacturing. Alright? Yes or no? Say something. Did you get it?
Cứ cộng kéo lên, cái này là cái losing đi lên đúng không? Rồi cái tiếp là chừng February á, cũng là cái từ losing đi lên luôn.
So your operating cost
Là cái tỷ lệ cho
so your operating cost is 0 because you don't have any information about non-manufacturing. So make it 0 and then you calculate net profit. Right? Now calculate net profit using all this information. Now calculate and tell me how much is net profit for absorption cost.
cái này là bao nhiêu vậy? Nó rất nhiều. Ở trên đây là lấy 3.000 này trừ trong 1.500 là giá không thôi. Còn hai cái này là cái opening là cái nào? Opening là cái này.
Có đâu này nè, nó ghi nè, còn này nó ghi nè. Là mình không có dư á, bắt đầu đó một
hay kính good of the soul là
nãy giờ ba ngày
thì là có cái này rồi